Konami Studios.
I feel like in a past life, Donny Cates did something really good and like made the right choices, or he was granted like a great opportunity from like a genie or a wizard, and he just said, I would like to do everything in my power to make comic books cool for everyone. And he did that. He's really been doing that. Like, I think in our modern times, there has been very few writers like Donny Cates who have just managed to be so perfect in everything they touch that you've just been impressed with everything they do, and that you've supported everything they do. Crossover is the most ambitious book I think anybody's worked on today, and for some reason, it doesn't even feel that ambitious. It just feels like this is where we'd be in 2020. This is the kind of comic book we'd have being made today, and I think that's amazing. So we open up this book, we are getting a news broadcast because Brian K. Vaughan, acclaimed Marvel Comics writer, has been found murdered in his home in New York. And who's still missing is Chip Zdarsky, Scott Snyder, and Robert Kirkman. Now you just know that Donnie was just like, yeah, can I guys use your name and just say you're missing? That's funny. That's amazing to me. So we see that Otto's the one watching this. He's like, really? That's what you're going to say Brian K. Vaughan is known for? Elle comes back into the house, and we get this confirmation that the store has went up in flames. There's no more comic book stores left. Luckily, the insurance will cover it. We have to make that clear. And we do see that Otto has figured out this girl's name that they found. Her name is Ava Quinn. Quinn is her name, and that's kind of like, who could that be in relation to? Because I'd imagine it would be in relation to somebody. Now, I don't know if that's literally what it's going to be. Of course, my mind's like Harley Quinn, but I don't think that's where we're going to go with that. So they're just kind of having a conversation, trying to figure out what happened after that. So we do get a flashback to see that Elle's being taken away by the cops, and they see that Ryan's there. He did all this stuff. Elle spits on him, and it's kind of like a love-struck guys, just, nah, we're done here. We get this weird kind of narration throughout the book, too, where we see, like, there's this figure that we don't really know who it is that's talking as like to the audience, and it's like, well, this is when these two fell in love, and you're like, okay, who could that be? Now, I do want to bring this up again too. There's a couple like big references in these books so far that I do want to talk about, just because I don't know how ambitious we're going to get in this book. I know Cates on Twitter has said the next one in issue 6 I think are going to be pretty big. But we get another sighting of a Ninja Turtle. Now, I don't know if that means a Ninja Turtle will actually be appearing in this book at all, but we're seeing what's supposed to be a Ninja Turtle, so I'd imagine we'll get there eventually. Then we do cut back to Ryan, and we see Ryan's being escorted by these cops. They're like, we could call your dad, the cult guy, see what's going on there if you want. But Ryan's very adamant about, no, I made this mistake. I want to pay penance for it, and do the time for the crime. Pretty much, that's what he's saying. But he's escorted into the secret room where we meet Special Director Nathaniel Abrams Pembleton, which is such a comic booky name. I absolutely love it. So he starts to talk to this kid, Ryan. He's like, okay, well, first off, how would you like me to pronounce your name? Is it Ryan, or do you want to be called O'Ryan? He's like, call me Ryan. And it's just, you can tell this guy's just like that classic FBI, X-Files type of guy. Like, really? What kind of a name is Orion anyways? Are you supposed to be like some Greek hero or something? That kind of stuff. And we get some more confirmation about stuff we saw Cates post on Twitter. But this guy, Pembleton, he runs this prison jurisdiction where they lock up a bunch of superpowered people. And we get a nice shot where we're seeing all these people locked up in these cages. Obviously, there's the Thing there. We see Batman off to his side. And it's very indicative of that panel from Spawn. Do you guys remember that page in Spawn where Spawn has all these different superheroes locked up? It is straight up trying to be that. But we see this is just one of numerous facilities in the country that have these people locked up. There's things called like the Dome, the whatever you want to call it, all that stuff. Everything's locked up in there. And you see like some of the heroes, or some of the characters at least, are in cooperation that they're willing to be locked up if it means they can get back home. So they're willing to like cooperate where they can. And then if it wasn't a reference enough to Spawn, the next page we see the same panel from a different perspective where we see Spawn sticking his hand out there and you see his cape, and it's like, yeah, we're using these magic lamps and these magic type of like lights that affect their powers, so they're not able to use them, so they're willing to cooperate a little bit more. And some of them are even helping us keep people in check by doing favors for us. So I'm like, Methinks we'll see a magic character make an appearance somewhere down the line. I don't know which one we'll see, but I'd imagine we'll see one soon. And again, this is something I wanted to bring up too, because we have seen Spawn here, and Todd McFarlane did a cover for an upcoming issue. I would not be surprised if one of the characters we see full on appearing in this book would be Spawn. Like, I don't know if we could full on do a Marvel or a DC character, but I feel like Todd would just like love this idea so much that he'd be like, fuck yeah, get Spawn in there. Do whatever you want with Spawn in this book. I feel like that's what Todd would do. I think he'd be very open to that idea. So we just get some confirmation that there was this briefcase left behind with a note from a mysterious person that says Ryan is the key to all of this. Now it says like it is written, like it's some kind of comic booky bullshit. Like it is written that you will be the one that could figure this out with the contents that are inside this briefcase. Now maybe I'm crazy for believing the heroes. Maybe I'm right. But you are the one who could potentially restore the balance to the worlds, kind of thing. So he opens up the briefcase and we see a gun with like a glowing green bullet, and instantly your mind goes to, oh shit, that's a kryptonite bullet. Where they say no, it's powered by like the same energy that they use to like depower these characters. So I still think there might be a connection to the overall idea of maybe Superman's going to be the key to bring him back, and that could be kryptonite. But I also like the idea that it could just be like some random powerful thing they have to do to get these people back home. And we get a note, and it's talking about, hey, you're the one that can do this. I know you'll need to get in the dome, and you'll need to do what's done when you get there. And I wish the best for you. Give Ellie my love. And he's like, who the hell's Ellie? Ellie, of course, is the girl that we've seen in this issue, in the previous issue, and it's kind of hinted that those two are going to have like a romantic connection later on, maybe because their destinies are written together. So reluctantly, Ryan decides he will do this task, and he will figure out a way to, I guess, save the world. Almost like a certain character from a certain book told him he's their only hope. And I know only hope is so Star Wars, but there's no way it's going to be a Star Wars thing. I could get behind Spider-Man appearing in this book, but there's no way in hell that like Han Solo is, you know? that is completely off the table in my eyes. So we cut back to Otto and Elle, and they're just having a conversation. Like, this is a lot of weird shit going on. Like, they're looking right at the dome where the events are taking place, and Otto's like, how am I supposed to go on my life knowing that Dracula, the Hulk, and Archie are in there doing God knows what? And they're just trying to figure out what to do. Elle's idea is kind of like, well, we should get inside the dome, and we could get Ava back to her family, because that's where she needs to be with her family. And maybe I could go in there too and try to find my parents. And it's like, well, if there's a way to get her out, maybe we could get in there to save them. Ava comes to them and she's just like, I was never in that big dome thing. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, she was locked up in these, like, camps where these characters who don't show any sign of power, that are still comic book characters, come through with the heroes and all these other characters. And they are all these random people. They all look like Ava. They got that classic comic book look to them. But they don't have any powers. And luckily she was able to sneak out of there through the help of somebody. So it's like, yeah, I mean, this is an angle I wasn't expecting the book to take, but I actually think it works, because when you have like all your characters coming through, of course like a civilian's gonna stumble through and something's gonna happen. They're like, you can't do this book and tell me Lois Lane wouldn't be perfect for it, because she'd be absolutely amazing to see in here. So they're trying to figure out, maybe we should go to those camps and figure out a way to get her out. So Otto pulls Elle back inside the house and is like, you're crazy. For all we know, she's a very powerful girl. If you've read enough comics, Elle, to know that when some random girl happens to walk up on your doorstep out of nowhere, that there's something special about her. She's not just no one, she could be an atom bomb. And Elle's like, come on, there's no way she's just an atom bomb. She's just a little girl, she's helpless. And we end the book with like, trust me, we're going to get to the camps, we're going to save anybody. But we see that Ava does have some power as she burns a rat to death with her eyes. Now, we don't know anything else about this character, whether or not if she's going to be like a mutant or like the daughter of somebody. But you're just like, You've been very fortunate in your career, Donny Cates, to be so lucky to write this kind of shit, because it's literally just amazing that here we are doing this shit, and it's fun. It's actually working. I'm kind of on board for this. I thought after the first issue I was going to be like, yeah, I get it. I don't know if I need any more of it, but I get it. I don't care that much. But now I'm like, okay, I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. I said it before in a lot of the other stuff with crossover issue 1. It's not breaking the mold in any like serious regards. Like, it's a very straightforward narrative. We're setting up a lot of stuff going forward, but it's just like the things that he's allowing himself to do with these different characters is what's making it different than a lot of other stuff. But the story itself, the narrative, the characters who are lead characters like Otto and Elle and Ava and Ryan, they are very straightforward characters, and that's not a bad thing because we have a fantastical world of everybody in existence behind them. So I think this is going to be a really fascinating series to continue to dive into, and I can't wait to see what comes from it. So crossover issue number 2, I am going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.